Right. Second, sir, I think we can begin. We have students, more and more students joining the YouTube stream.
Hi friends, good evening. I am Krishna from Career Launcher Hyderabad. From CL Hyderabad, we bring in a lot of interactive sessions for kids who are preparing for law and allied exams. In the process, very recently, we arranged one such session with the Register of Nalsar, Dr. Balakrishna Reddy garu. This is the second session now what Career Launcher will be arranging with Mr. Rohan. Mr. Rohan was a student of Career Launcher Hyderabad in the period 2011 to 12. He wrote CLAT in 2012. He got admission of NLU Patna and he would like to have an international exposure that time. He decided, and then he subsequently joined in Jindal Global Law University. Then he was been to LLM to King's College London. That is the journey about Mr. Rohan. And Rohan has a very good passion towards mentoring kids. Very recently, he did one such session at his school, HBS Begumpet. So he interacted with all his schoolmates and through alumni meeting, they had a thorough interaction on legal education. So over to you, Rohan, right now.
Thank you, sir, for that generous introduction. Hello, I'm Rohan. I currently practice as a corporate and tax lawyer in Hyderabad, and I predominantly do commercial litigation. I pursued my BLLB Honors from Jindal Global Law School and then went on to pursue my LLM from King's College London, and I specialized in competition law. So I take this opportunity to share my experience as a lawyer and how my life was in the law school, and my experience of me studying at King's College London, and how an LLM as a master's degree would help a prospective lawyer in India. So what to expect from law school? And most of you have already might have researched on this aspect, as since you have already decided to do law. I'll give you a brief overview. Law school, in law school, you'll do about 60 to 65 subjects. And as you people know, law in India is offered as an integrated degree right after your class 12. So if you choose a BA LLB or a BBA LLB, apart from law subjects, you'll be also doing the BA subjects such as English, sociology, economics, and also BBA subjects such as commercial studies, business studies, math, accounting, etc. One advantage of having an integrated degree program in India is that you will have an interdisciplinary approach of law. So most law schools in India provide for provide for law from different perspectives, subjects that view law from different perspectives. Like in general, I had the opportunity to do law from an economic perspective, from a sociology perspective, and from a historical perspective. So this broadens your scope in the subject and helps you understand law from a comprehensive point of view. And apart from this interdisciplinary subjects, law school has some peculiar extracurricular activities such as moot court competitions or debate competitions focusing on issues of law. This prepares you for the for your career and helps you understand law from a practical and implication point of view. Now, after doing my undergraduate degree, I decided to pursue my master's in law. What inspired to do master's in law is, frankly speaking, my professors at college. All of them had masters from different universities all over the world, and I could guess that their perspective or their understanding of the subject was slightly different from those who did not have a master's degree. And what interested me in doing a master's degree is that you can specialize in one particular field that you were more interested or you were aligned towards while doing your undergraduate degree. I've dotted down a few specializations that you can do, and and things that might interest you is like sports law or human rights. They are at their nascent stage in India, but however, sports law is actually a very big subject when you go to abroad. Now, LLM in abroad. Uh, I have to tell you that doing an LLM is not a mandatory to be a lawyer or practice as a lawyer in India. However, it has its own advantages. And one such thing is interdisciplinary approach. Uh, like I pursued my LLM in competition law. And apart from doing purely law subjects, I also had the opportunity to choose subjects from business school at King's College London. One such subject is analytical and quantitative reasoning. I'll tell you how this subject actually helped me through my career over the past 2 years. As I understand, a good lawyer is not only who knows the subject, but also knows whether to file that particular case at a particular point of time. At the end of the day, there's a lot of money involved when you want to litigate. And it is very important for you to take that decision whether to litigate or to go ahead and fight or to settle so that it brings out maximum benefit to the client who approaches you. This analytical and quantitative method, that subject, which was a business subject, will give you a perspective of economics and the litigation and the money involved, and whether or not it's worth to spend so much. And that's the decision you can make while when a client comes to you. So it'll give you a broader perspective on viewing a case, not only from a legal point of view, also from a monetary point of view. And apart from this, the other advantages of doing LLM abroad is that you get a broader perspective of a subject and their application in different countries. As you people are aware, India is a common law country, and we have adopted our legal structure mostly from the UK. And UK has evolved on much wider and a larger basis on those subjects that we have adopted. For example, competition law in India is as recent as 2002, whereas competition law in the UK and the EU has been in existence for over 100 years. So you can now imagine the scope that subject has and how much it has evolved through case laws in those countries. So it actually expanded my horizons to understand that subject in a better manner. Apart from this, an LLM degree has helped me analyze and critically approach a problem from different perspectives. Law as a subject or law as a course is all about interpretation, and different countries do it in a different manner. So I had the opportunity to study UK local laws, and since I've already completed my undergraduate degree in India, I could compare them to how these particular aspects were implemented in India. And the key takeaway is that now I can apply the principles of the international principles of international law in Indian problem solving. And an LLM, I think, is a must if you want to do or practice in arbitrations or international arbitration law, and more particularly international law. Now, while I talk about this LLM, I would also take this opportunity to tell about my experience in Jindal and how it eased my transition to King's College London. Jindal Global Law School, as the name suggests, has truly global faculty, and it's the approach Jindal takes is slightly different from traditional law schools in India. Jindal gives you a lot of freedom to choose your subjects. Apart from the mandatory Bar Council of India subjects, there are about 20 or 22 law subjects. The remaining, we had the choice to select the remaining subjects which will allot you credits. Overall, I've done about 60 subjects in the law school, and I had the opportunity to choose approximately 35 to 40 subjects to complete my course. So what Jindal does is Jindal releases a set of subjects that you can choose from, and it is you who, you can choose what subject you want to study and what you want to specialize in at the end of the day. And they have varied subjects such as law and emotions, economic analysis towards education policy in India, let's say international database law. So these kind of interdisciplinary subjects that focus on one particular field will help you understand law from different perspectives, and at the end of the day they will help they'll give you freedom and choice to do the subjects which you are interested in at the end of the day. And apart from this, Jindal as a law school also has tie-ups with various law colleges all over the world. I'm not sure about the exact number, but I believe they have tie-ups with about close to 70 to 80 law colleges all over the world, which include Harvard, Cornell, Oxford, King's College, Queen Mary, and various universities in Australia as well. These tie-ups help students to pursue exchange programs or summer school programs, wherein college helps you throughout the application process, and it makes it a tad bit easier for those people as compared to other colleges for people from Jindal to go abroad and study abroad. And since Jindal adopts Jindal's marking criteria and exam criteria is also not the conventional way. They have adopted the criteria from international law schools. So it's it made me it was easier for me to adopt when I went to King's and get used to that curriculum. Now, that being said, what is a role of a lawyer? Now that after I've completed my studies, I realized that a lawyer has a much important role than what I imagined while I was studying. Only to understand that a lawyer is the one who drafts statutes, and legal scholars constantly keep a track on how these statutes are implemented, and judiciary, at the end of the day, all the judges and are also lawyers, are the ones who assist courts and protect individual rights in the society. Now, after completing my LLM degree, these are the career opportunities that are available to a lawyer in India. You can work as an in-house counsel or a corporate counsel, work in a law firm, you can litigate, you can work with an NGO. And I understood that a master's degree will put you on edge to your competitive applicants when you want to work as an in-house counsel or a corporate counsel, and if you want to work in an NGO, or if you want to specifically focus your practice area in international arbitration. And an LLM degree as such has also expanded my career opportunities. And since I am a part of this prestigious King's alumni right now after graduating from King's College London, it is now easier for me to apply for international law firms as well, as they give preference to those who have already studied in 2 or 3 different jurisdictions, because they would want people to understand and critically approach a problem from various perspectives. That being so, now that we are in a corona pandemic time, I thought it was important for me to share this. What do I do? As I already told you, I work in a law firm that specializes in corporate and tax litigation, and my work predominantly involves in going to court, draft petitions, agreements, appear and argue in courts, and has lockdown affected lawyers. Uh, I say no. The doors of justice are always open, and the courts in India have adopted to an e-court mechanism where you can argue cases through video sharing apps such as Zoom, Cisco WebEx. And the courts in India have adopted to this mechanism very smoothly and very fast. And now lawyers are not out of work during the corona pandemic, and it's easier for them to smoothly continue working even through this pandemic period of time. And as you people already know that the courts play a very important role in governance in India. And a recent example being the overcharge of prices by the hospitals, and it is the courts that are keeping a constant check on it. So lawyers play a very important role, not only in developing a society, but keeping a track on the fact that the society is running in the right direction. Now, as I already told you, scope of my work includes reading, research, interpretation, drafting, arguing, and advice. And an LLM has helped me in the latter two parts, that is interpreting a statute and drafting. And as I can see from my hands-on experience, that a person who has an LLM degree from abroad is able to interpret a particular law from a very comprehensive by doing a comprehensive analysis to it than a person who is practicing law without an LLM degree. So I think it has a indirect impact on how you work on a day-to-day basis. So this is my experience as a lawyer. And now I see I have a question from Mr. Sundaram that did you consider KCL for your bachelor's, and what if I want to do law outside India, starting up from my LLB? Vedika, you if you want to come back to India, I think you would want to look up at the Bar Council of India website, wherein not all law schools are recognized in India. So you can go to those law schools which are recognized by the Bar Council of India, which have a reciprocative treaty, where if you do law from those particular countries, it will be easier for you to get your license in India. So I think that is one concern that you have to take into consideration. And yes, you can always do law abroad, and I think it's a good idea to do a law from a common law country if you wish to do so, because India is also a common law country, and the set of principles that govern all common law countries are inherently the same, and all statutes are through those set of principles.
Rohan, there's one interesting question that that keeps popping up.
Yes.
What difference would it make to pursue an LLM from an Indian university vis-a-vis a university abroad?
So in your bachelor's degree, you already do you do 60 or 70 law subjects. And if you go on to do a master's in India, all you're doing is doing that subject a little bit in depth, and you will be able to understand it even though if you do not do an LLM, and if you do a couple of readings on that particular subject, because you would have already done that subject in your undergrad degree, and you have basic principles of that particular subject already established in your undergrad degree course. The one advantage I see in doing an LLM from a foreign university is that it broadens your perspective in understanding that particular field, let's say corporate law or business law, as it is practiced in a foreign country as well. At the end of the day, the principles that govern these particular laws are the same, but the way they are implemented are different. And I think it has an advantage, because when you know how it's implemented across different jurisdictions, it'll give you a comprehensive perspective of how this subject works outside India, and you can take back those principles and apply them while you're practicing in India.
Great. Yeah. So that gives a picture that more or less, even if the subject is same, the way it is implemented or the way it is taught is probably different both in India and abroad.
The way it's implemented, the way it's taught, and as you see, I mean, like, it's not the same set of cases that arise in India and abroad, right? So you will be able to understand the subject from a different point of view. So the courts there adjudge matters in a different point of view. Their procedure is different. So you can get back those legal principles and come apply them in India. And for a matter of fact, even today, when there's a new point of law, we fall back on the Queen's bench judgments or judgments from the common law countries or the UK. And if you go there and study the subject from that particular jurisdiction, it helps you understand it from a broader perspective, is my opinion.
Right. What is the scope of Indian lawyers, people who do their BLLB, let's say from a top university in India?
Yeah.
What is the scope that they get a job in the US or the UK?
So basically, sir, if you want to do a job in the UK, US, you have to have the license to practice in that particular jurisdiction. And one gateway to get that license is do a master's degree in that particular jurisdiction. Suppose you want to practice in the New York. New York allows you to take the bar only if you have studied in New York. So you can, after doing an undergrad degree, you can enroll yourself for a master's degree in New York, do a master's for 1 year. That will give you the key to take the bar exam there, to ultimately get the license and practice there.
Right. So is it possible to place abroad after doing a BLLB in India?
Yes, a couple of students, or rather a couple of friends of mine, are posted in the UK right after doing a BLLB degree in India. But the thing is, you'll be inducted as an international lawyer in that particular law firm, and ultimately at the end of the day, you have to take the bar exam there, so that gives you eligibility to practice in that particular nation. And one way of giving a bar exam is, it's as far as I see, it's mandatory for you to do a 1 year, a minimum of 1 year course in a foreign jurisdiction to write the bar exam there.
Right.
For example, in the UK, you have to give the QLTT test, and that is the conversion test, converting your Indian degree to abroad. And you have to either do an LPC course if you want to be a solicitor, or a BPTC course if you want to be a barrister. That's like a 1 year course that is mandatory not only for Indian lawyers. Even if a person who does an undergraduate degree in UK, it's mandatory for them to do these two courses also, so that it gives them eligibility to give the bar exam there to get the license to practice. So it's like a local thing. It's not that a person who is in the UK is not exempted from doing so. Even he has to give the BPTC and the bar to ultimately get a license and practice there.
Right. So there's
There's one more
But
question I would like to answer. Can I do law in India and shift to USA and pursue law? This from Maitreya. Maitreya, I see, like university like Jindal provide you with that opportunity where you can do a 4-year degree in India, and continuing this 4-year degree, you can do a 2-year course abroad, which will give you the license or eligibility to practice both in India and the USA. Yes, sir.
so there's one question from Anish Gupta. Is asking to shed some light on company secretary CS along with law.
Yes. Role of a CS is limited to corporate law. That is, as I see, we also work in close connection with the company secretaries when it comes to incorporating a company and drafting documents. A lawyer has lawyer's role is much bigger than a CS. A CS is limited to corporate law and corporate structuring and incorporation of a company, whereas a lawyer, apart from doing corporate structuring, has a much wider base that he can practice in. And if you and as far as I see, I think a lawyer can also do company secretary work, and if you specialize in commercial laws in your LLM program, I think the knowledge that you gain is more or less the same as compared to a CS. And as I see that more in-house corporate jobs would require a person to have a law degree and a CS degree, so that it's easier for them to transit and do transactions with one particular person.
So CS is probably like a gateway that will make your life at a corporate firm more easier.
No, not a corporate firm, sir. It's a in-house counsel. Basically, a CS is appointed. Like, for example, let's say Reliance wants to appoint an in-house counsel or in-house lawyer. They would, as a corporation, they would prefer a CS and a lawyer together. But a corporate law firm works in a different manner. Corporate law firm the only qualification in India as of now is having a BLLB degree, where you want to work in a corporate law firm.
Okay, fine. Akash Gulati has a question. He says that what would be your advice to aspiring students aspiring to get into NLUs but probably cannot get into them, and let's say they get into a college like IPU Delhi, would you still advise them to go ahead and finish their BA LLB?
Yes. Do not, I mean, I think one thing you should understand is not to be disappointed if you're not getting into an NLU, because NLU are good colleges, but they're not be all and end all of colleges. So and I take this opportunity to say that Oxford, Harvard, and all these universities are also private universities and not government universities. And private universities in India in the field of law are also doing very well and also have a lot of things to offer to students. So I think he should not get disappointed for not getting an NLU. And at the end of the day, all these colleges play in the same field. So they are equally competitive and equally good as far as the faculty and the education is concerned.
And as and how more of these colleges move to something like an online education forum, I think there won't be much difference between a very old NLU and a newer NLU as well, because
Right.
resources will be available freely.
That's true, sir. And all the law schools in India are governed by the Bar Council of India. So all the subjects are also more or less similar, because it's mandatory for the law schools to follow that particular curriculum. It actually comes down to your peer group and the colleagues that are around you. So that is the only, I think that is the only difference between different law schools.
Samya has a question saying that did you have to take any special test like LNAT before you got into King's College London?
No, I mean, King's has a different mode of admission. All I had to do was my undergrad scores had a very big impact while I was going to King's. Apart from that, you needed a letter of recommendations from faculty who have taught you, and you had to write an essay of why do you want to join King's. So this is what was required. Apart from that, you had to take an English language test, either TOEFL or IELTS, to get into King's. And more or less, if you want to, apart from King's, I also applied for NYU, but I chose King's because it was better for competition law. More or less, the admission process is similar for a postgrad degree in law. You would generally require a statement of purpose and recommendations from your faculty, and the more important thing is your undergrad scores. That will have a very big impact on what college admission you get into, what college you get into.
Right. Our friend Avinash Singh has a question saying that, is it okay if I pursue LLB first, then be a LLB first, then work for a couple of years, then take some work experience, and then go for LLM? Will my scope of getting a good placement change?
I believe so, because I mean, like, I would like to put it this way. So this is a scale. So this is a scale of your marks. So every deviation from your marks have to be substantiated from the from extracurricular activities that you do, because it's not only marks that these colleges look into, they also look into what other activities that you have done in law school, such as research papers, or if have you participated in moot court competitions. So if you have a lower grade, you will be able to substantiate with the other extracurricular activities that you do. So if you think you have a lower score in your law school, and that work experience will try to bring that deviation onto a flat scale, so it will have you an advantage that way. And for a matter of fact, I think it's only Indians who are the youngest LLM students in King's. All my colleagues from various countries, let's say Europe, US, and China, all of them had work experience, and I was probably one of the young brats in the class there. So that's the thing. And the work experience will have an impact on your selection process as far as LLM is concerned.
So you did your LLM from Jindal, and you did your BLLB from Jindal,
Yes,
and then proceeded for your LLM at King's College.
I didn't take a break. I proceeded directly.
Right. So what if you had to get into a job straight away after Jindal? What would be the opportunities available in India for BLLB graduates? A law opportunity that an integrated law course student can do.
You can choose to work in a law firm. There are various law firms in India that hire students, and there are in-campus placements also that happen, such as Amachand Mangaldas, AZB, Luthra and Luthra, Ketan and Co are one such examples. All of these companies have in-campus placements, and these are law firms. Basically, you work with a set of lawyers in this law firm, and the other opportunity you will have is you'll be recruited into companies. All companies nowadays have a law graduate working for them to take care of their transactional issues. So various companies also come into campuses, and they also have in-campus selections for appointing students as in-house counsel. And if you want to get into litigation, you can always come back and work under a senior advocate or a lawyer, or work under a law firm that specializes in litigation, where you can go to courts and get hands-on experience in courts.
Quite a lot of our students who are aspirants of CLAT are either commerce students or art students. Art students का तो clear है, they want to do a BLLB course. Would you suggest a BBLLB course for a commerce student? How would it make a difference at all?
I have done a BLLB Honors, and I had very limited opportunity to speak to those people who have done a BLLB Honors. As far as the law subjects are concerned, they are the same for a BLLB or BBLLB Honors. And I think it's only in India that law is offered as an undergraduate degree. Whereas if you want to do law in the US, it's a degree that is offered after your graduation. So what India has done is India has integrated a normal degree and law degree, cut down 1 year and put up a 5-year course so that it's easier for students. So I think it depends on your comfort level on what subjects you can do. As far as law subjects are concerned, there's no difference between these two courses. And if you, I mean, like, if you're not sure if you want to practice law and you want to do law only as to get into some other field, and if you want to do an MBA or something, I think BBA LLB will have an advantage over a BLLB honors if you want to deviate yourself from the field of law after doing your undergraduate degree.
If I do an Laiba Fatima has a question that if I am an LLM grad already,
Yes.
what scope exists for me to become a judge later on?
After being an
Yeah.
if you wanted to get into a lower judiciary in India, you have to give a competitive exam. Let's say if you want to do a if you want to be a metropolitan sessions judge or something of that cadre, you can give an exam after 2 years of being a practicing lawyer in India. If you want to give an exam for a district judge, you have to have a minimum 7 years of practicing as a lawyer in India. LLM is not a prerequisite for being a judge in India.
There's one slightly very personal question that Shivangi, our friend, has. That why did you opt for Jindal even after converting an NLU?
I
Because
think
most of the students would die for an NLU in the country.
I got into CNLU Patna, then I had the opportunity to visit Jindal. One thing that attracted me towards going to Jindal is the faculty that Jindal has, and Jindal has a lot of tie-ups with international universities, and the way Jindal teaches law is a bit different from the conventional national law schools. As I already told you, I had an opportunity to choose about 30 to 35 subjects. Jindal gives you that freedom to choose subjects and do whatever you wish and whatever you are interested in. So that I wanted that freedom to ensure that I do what I like. So that is the difference between Jindal and traditional NLU. Most of the time in a national law schools, what happens is that Bar Council of India prescribes 20 mandatory subjects, and law schools can choose other subjects. So if you, I'm not sure, but I think if you want to do a law from an NLU, all these other optional subjects are already chosen by the college. Whereas in Jindal has that faculty who will be able to offer you varied amount of subjects, and you'll have that freedom. I think I in Jindal I had the opportunity to do subjects like economic analysis of law. I'm into a lot of economics. I like economics as a subject. So I ended up doing a lot of subjects which saw law from an economic perspective. So I wouldn't be able to do that if I joined in NLU. So
To be very frank, I have been to both CNLU Patna and Jindal in Sonipat, and I think Jindal has got one amazing campus here. He has spent a lot of money over there. I think that itself is a showstopper there. The campus that you have.
apart from the campus, the academics are also very good at Jindal. I mean, I when I went to King's, the transition for me was not that difficult because let's say the examination scale, the way the examination is conducted in Jindal was very much similar to what I did in King's. And it's not, I mean, Jindal, not all subjects are traditional in-class exams. We had opportunity to do research papers. We had opportunities to do a dissertation. Then apart from doing subjects, in my final year, I had the opportunity to be a teaching assistant for economics for the first years, and they gave me credits for that. Instead of doing a subject, I could opt things like this. So it gave you a more practical exposure to law.
One very important question that Aviral has raised here, and must be on the top of the minds of many of the aspirants, that whenever they meet an achiever, it is mandatory to ask them what was their plan, how did they prepare, and I would want to know. They would want to know how did you prepare for your law exams.
How did I prepare for my law exams? All I did was study with dedicated focus. I mean, like, I think it's way easier for people to study for law exams now, because internet has opened and it gave you so much opportunity to research and all. But even as early as 2012, it was not that easy to find books online and study online. So all you have to do is study with a dedicated focus. That's all I can say.
Mhm. Right. So more or less, it's about even in my mind. To my mind, what comes to my mind is, it's not about the time or anything that you
Spend it.
the
It's how,
time
how
time
well
is
you utilize the time.
exactly how focused are you, how analytical are you in your approach is what
Yeah,
matters the most.
one thing I would like to tell you is like, it's not the knowledge that, I mean, like, let's say a CLAT paper. If you're given 5 hours, I think everybody can solve it and get a full score. I think the trick is to do it within that particular time frame. And I think CL mock papers are good enough for you to prepare in that particular manner.
Right.
So that's
What opportunities does a BLLB student have in the International Court of Justice?
pardon me, in the International Court of Justice, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
uh, I think ICJ offers a fellowship program to all lawyers all over the world. You can, after your undergrad degree, you can apply for that fellowship program. And the criteria for that fellowship program is also, I think, statement of purpose from your um, lecturers or teachers who have taught you in your undergrad degree. You can always go there and work there, and you can convert your fellowship program to a job depending on how well you work there. So this fellowship, there's no prerequisite as such for this fellowship program. The only requisite is that you have to be a graduate lawyer from your particular jurisdiction. So that's the thing.
The typical mentality in students who are aiming the colleges in India, be it for engineering, be it for law, be it for MBA, they would look at an IIM and say, "Boss, ye package kitna deta hai? What is the average salary over there?" Kind of things. And even at NLUs, they would look at an NLU Bangalore and say the average salary is 15 to 18 lakhs per annum. Does a King's College London have a placement guarantee?
It depends on how good you are and what are you looking for. I mean, an LLM as such does not give you a placement guarantee, but LLM will widen your scope to apply in an international jurisdiction as well. So that's the thing. And I'll tell you, one advantage of doing an LLM is that you are a part of this King's alumni and the King's network. Let's say I did it from King's, so I'm speaking from a perspective of a student who has done LLM from King's. You're a part of this King's alumni and King's network. So I see from the portal that there are multiple opportunities that are open for students to work in Europe, UK, US, and they're first offered to King's students. So it's on first offer basis. So first you apply. If they don't find anybody good in King's, then it's open to the other students. So I think it's that advantage that you have if you go to these universities or well reputed, that give you the first opportunity to apply to certain posts over others.
Right. Thank you so much, Rohan. I think we have answered most of the queries that were on similar lines. What about CA and law, CS and law? I think we have looked at most of the queries that are there. So, uh, any last questions? Any last questions for the couple of minutes?
And there's one more thing I would like to tell you, that if you're choose a law school based on your interests and not on the name it has. So if you're somebody who's interested in international law, I think a college like Jindal will have more help than a national law university, or things like that. If you want to do an LLM also, choose a law school based on the subjects they offer rather on the country where you want to visit. Suppose if you want to do competition law and economics, I think UK has some amazing law schools such as London School of Economics or UCL and King's offering subjects this way. At the end of the day, if you want to get into human rights and public law domain, then Oxford is very good in these subjects. So I think this is one thing everybody has to keep in mind, to choose the law school based on the interest you have rather than on the school as such.
Right. I think that is a very, very valuable input, because most of them kind of run behind the brand that is there.
I think it's necessary for you to explore the subject and the faculty that is available in this particular law schools before you get on, because things keep changing on a daily basis, right? So
Right.
it's necessary for you to do that in-depth research and assess where you fit in, so that it helps you and in your academics in a much easier manner.
Right. Thank you so much, Rohan.
Yeah, thank you. I thank Krishna sir for giving me this opportunity and share my insights. I hope it helps people and helps them understand how law as a field works in general. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insights, and I think we have answered almost all the queries that are there. I think the students have enjoyed the session also. Thank you so much, and we are looking for more such sessions from you, and if possible, any colleagues of yours, so that we can engage more and more students and give them what they actually require.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.